Hello everyone. It falls to me to kind of momentarily stop the conversations, but as I mentioned to a few of you who were here earlier, this session is very much about continuing those just after some brief introductions. So hello everyone, welcome to our session on Spotlight on Student Knowledge Exchange. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's Hannah Irwin. I'm part of a team from the University of Plymouth. I'm based in the Faculty of Arts, Humanities and Business as part of a team called The Bridge, and following exciting work on projects like engaging students in knowledge exchange, we're now part of a larger team called the Arts Institute, working across knowledge exchange, research and impact, and also our public programme within the faculty for the University of Plymouth. It's lovely to see some familiar faces. I actually had the opportunity to speak and share some of our learning from our Engaging Students in Knowledge Exchange project at the Praxis Oral Conference last year. And it's such a pleasure to be back to kind of share a little more with you today, and also to kind of draw together a wealth of kind of learning and expertise from across the wider sector with colleagues who will be introduced shortly, and also to kind of create the opportunity and space for some discussion and engagement with all of yourselves to kind of create those connections. Our Engaging Students in Knowledge Exchange project was a really exciting opportunity at Plymouth to really build on our investment in knowledge exchange to date and kind of take a bit of a deep dive into a really diverse range of types of student knowledge exchange to explore some new and innovative solutions and kind of opportunities, but also to kind of really evaluate what was working and why, to kind of help us better articulate the value that that has. And obviously it's something that's come through in some of the conversations this morning, and it's lovely that there are so many people kind of interested in engaging in that conversation. Since we presented last year, our work has really been about kind of embedding that learning internally. So part of what we'd developed was kind of a series of resources around supporting a wider staff base within the faculty, and now more broadly across the university in engaging students with knowledge exchange, alongside the expert support of colleagues like many of us in the room. We tried to understand and kind of articulate the principles that we'd kind of identified in a transformative student knowledge exchange experience for all parties involved. We defined that as something that was place-based, incredibly well evaluated, that needed to be resourced, one that was curated to kind of take advantage of all of the opportunities for all parties involved, something that was carefully considered and facilitated, and something that was co-created. Part of our kind of work beyond the project and thinking externally was opportunities like this one. So taking the chance to share learning from our project in a number of different forums, including kind of translating it into an understanding of engaged learning, and also some of the specialist learning in terms of kind of inclusion and accessibility that was developed through our project, and being shared in external kind of programs and on platforms like the Beera blog, where we talked about our work. Oh, I won't say it all again. Yeah, on platforms like Beera, where we talked about our work to kind of co-create pathways of digital support for students who are disabled and neurodivergent. And so an opportunity like this one is a really great space to be able to kind of continue some of those conversations, and it's something that kind of came up repeatedly, that there's such a wealth of kind of knowledge and expertise in what we often talk about as an emerging space and recognition of student knowledge exchange, but where actually there's an incredible breadth of knowledge that we can kind of share between us and help to kind of articulate the strength of the work we do moving forward. There were some really important kind of considerations as we reflected on our own work, but also as we had opportunities, including this event last year, to connect with colleagues and understand how others were understanding the opportunities of student knowledge exchange. And I mentioned some of these earlier in the way that they have started to kind of underpin the principles of the work that we do in Plymouth. And when given the opportunity to think about drawing together a session here at Praxis Oral in 2023, it was really exciting to receive such a diverse range of examples that kind of represent learning from all of these different areas. So for us, ways to explore co-creation and collaboration, not only with our student participants, but with our diverse and wide-ranging stakeholders and partners beyond the university. to look at and really unpack that process of evaluation and understand not only the ways in which we can kind of better capture that information, but also how we can use that to strengthen the case for more opportunity for student knowledge exchange, both within and extra to the curriculum. The importance of communicating effectively what we do to all of those involved and managing expectations. And again, that emphasis on the vital role of really understanding what our partners want and need in creating the right kind of student knowledge exchange opportunities that deliver real value for everyone involved. The idea that actually in order to make these opportunities accessible, we do need to consider a personalised approach and appropriate support to make sure that opportunities are open to all to engage with, given the outcomes that we see coming from having engaged with student knowledge exchange for our students and graduates. That consideration of place and an understanding of how we best work in our region, again, something really articulated powerfully in conversations this morning. And then thinking beyond an example like ours, where we had the opportunity to kind of augment and amplify our student knowledge exchange work through a funded project. How do you create the case to ensure sustainability within the institution for investment in that work moving forward by integrating and aligning with other priorities? These were all kind of questions we'd been considering, and in going out with a call for this session, it was something that there was a real wealth of responses to. And that's represented by our series of speakers and table kind of facilitators for our discussions this morning. So I just did give a bit of forewarning for those of you who'd arrived slightly earlier, and I just wanted to explain and clarify the format for this session. So we're going to begin with a series of really short 2-minute, hopefully they've all said that they will go for 2 minutes, let's see how well we do, lightning talks to introduce the way that each of our contributors will share their expertise and learning from a particular project or delivery within their institution or organisation, focused, as you'll come to understand as you hear from them, around some of those challenges and opportunities that I'd identified. Following that, we will ask you to move and join them around 5 distinct groups around the room to have a series of roundtable discussions where they'll be able to kind of share a little bit more, lead the discussion with some key questions, and also kind of create the space in this forum to have a dialogue with other colleagues about your own experiences and interest and kind of awareness in the student knowledge exchange space. Because I'm sure that there will be far more than one kind of conversation and theme that you'd like to engage with, what we're going to do is move and have an opportunity to speak and be part of a separate group. So we'll do 2 20-minute roundtable discussions, and then really importantly make a bit of space to gather some feedback from those conversations at the end, with the view that obviously all of these conversations, as with the rest of the conference, are to be continued over the next 48 hours. So hopefully that doesn't sound too daunting. Perhaps not exactly what you thought you'd signed up for, but hopefully something that will be kind of inspiring and get the most out of this opportunity to come together, to listen, but also to share. So, without further ado, I will pass over to our first speaker. Thank you, Neil, from Anglia Ruskin University.
Thanks, Hannah. Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to introduce SHOKE, Students at the Heart of Knowledge Exchange from ARU, as a great example of successfully embedding sustainable student knowledge exchange into an institutional strategy. 18 months ago, we went from nothing. We had no team, very few ideas, but a lot of ambition. And within that period, we created a completely sustainable program that's now completely deeply embedded into the institution, and it supports all of its core strategies. How? Well, it's too much to put on the slide, so I don't want to sort of confuse you with complexity, but we'll talk about that. And from the beginning, we basically had institutional support and, more critically, financial support from Research England and Office for Students. And basically, we engaged all our partners from the public sector and prototyped up a platform to enable our students to create change, social change in the real world through our public sector partners. And a key factor really, and it's as simple as this, it's listening. It's about listening to students, staff and the partners. And basically because we're not expert in this before, as a team, we listened to everybody's ideas and put together what we considered the best we could do for everybody. But more importantly, there was passion at the centre of this as well, because we really wanted to make a difference and an impact. And our team held that passion and spread it about. So student diversity sits at the heart of what we do. And we've really succeeded in overcoming this massive challenge of motivating our underrepresented students to voluntarily participate in record numbers in what's become a growing community now of over 600 students who are wanting to make a difference, motivated social innovators. And the great thing that we wanted to do is not just show that diversity is the right thing to do, but actually show what the real benefits and power of diversity is. And when you take highly diverse student teams into solving complex problems, social issues that our partners, police, NHS, councils have, it's a game changer, both for the students and for our partners. And in the discussion group that we're about to have with Trudy, in the centre table here, we'll share more of our philosophy and how to make it work. Thank you.
Hello everybody, thank you for that. My name is Patrick McGurk and I'm the Associate Dean for Education in the School of Business and Management at the Queen Mary University of London.
And I'm Evie Edwards. I'm the Programme Manager for the Sketch programme that we're going to speak to you about today.
Thank you. And I'm the academic lead for Sketch, which cuts across 4 schools now, outside of humanities and the social sciences, and many similarities actually with the previous speaker. Very similar in terms of what we're asking students to do and how we're getting them involved. The key difference is that we tend to specialise in projects in the non-profit sector rather than the public sector, but there's lots of overlaps. So that's fascinating. So very quickly, I'm going to just talk about the left-hand side, and Evie's going to talk about the right-hand side, and I can see it in front of me down here. That's lovely. Essentially, we specialise in interdisciplinary projects where we take students from across different schools. So what we find is where students work across disciplines, it deepens their understanding of their own discipline. So there's lots of benefits for students, lots of benefits for partners, and there's benefits for the university in terms of developing our capability and capacity for knowledge exchange, basically. But I won't go into any more detail because we'll talk more. We have two of our colleagues with us. We have Aisha and Kanishka also from the Sketch project from different schools altogether, and we'll talk more on our table about what we're doing. Over to you.
And then on the right there, we've got some examples. We've delivered 19 interdisciplinary projects this year, and just some examples of those are on the left. So you can see the variety of different disciplines that are collaborating and working together. We've got law, economics, business management, and we've also branched out now into computer science, which is our first foray into the science and engineering faculty. So during our roundtable discussion, we've got Aisha and Kanishka, who actually have led on the financial literacy project, so they can tell you a little bit more about that if you come and join us. And we'll then be discussing, as Patrick said, the benefits and the challenges also of this type of delivery and padding out that a little bit more.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi. My name's Simon Harrison. I'm the Enterprise Programme Manager at Lancaster University, and I sit within our Central Research and Enterprise division. I still can't see the wood for the trees on the work we've been doing, really, so I'm going to start by sharing our assumptions and the things we've been trying to do. And those include the fact that we believe enterprise education has a significant role to play in institutional capacity building for knowledge exchange. but there's a lot at stake, and that students deployed as catalysts for innovation really need to be equipped with high levels of commercial awareness. But students equipped with entrepreneurial mindsets can add value regardless of their discipline and its direct relevance to the problem space. Our assumption that our experience in education gathered over 10 years and our use of the European Entrepreneurship Competence Framework enables us and positions us to design and deliver this effectively. That all of these assumptions are best tested in the field, and that we should find the most VUCA environment we can and take students from a range of disciplines and throw them into that mix and see what happens, and they'll be all right. And that interesting things will happen when you do this, and that we can all learn from, not to do again, for example. And that we can measure which entrepreneurial mindset dimensions have been required and applied and developed through this process, and that the SMEs and community organisations, the clients, academics and other partners will also experience some enhanced value from this as well. And we do have some evidence that something worked. There's a nice quote there from a PGR who joined a programme supporting some academics exploring spin-outs, and also some feedback from one of the SMEs in our first Innovation Catalyst, which was without these students we would have achieved nothing. It was fairly blanket positive feedback there. So I know that was all rather cryptic and abstract, but if you want to dig into the details of any of that that's interesting, to say there's too much for me to get through in 2 minutes, but really happy to discuss any dimensions of this. I'll be in the far corner. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Kerry Williams. I work at Nottingham University Vet School, and this is Jenny, and she'll introduce herself. So we're going to talk about vets in the community, which is quite different to some of the other examples you've heard so far. So it is a student-led project that was set up 11 years ago, run by students but supervised by qualified staff, both vets and vet nurses, and we provide free veterinary care to pets of homeless and vulnerably housed people. We mainly see dogs. We do also see some cats. We've done quite a lot of work with other community organisations to raise the profile of what we do, and we work really closely with other homeless organisations, particularly the Big Issue, housing associations, women's refuge, drug abuse charities. So our students are liaising with a lot of different partner organisations. When it was first set up, it was run out of the Big Issue office, who very kindly hosted us. Then in a writer's studio, a lot of stuff was done outside. It involved us and our students getting very wet and cold on many occasions, but bless, we have amazing students who, like this example, do actually keep smiling no matter how wet they get. So the students did a lot of fundraising. An incredible amount of fundraising, including the Notts Marathon, Half Marathon, other big events, and eventually we were able to commission a purpose-built mobile clinic, and that's enabled us to now run weekly at 2 different sites because we can take the clinic there.
So I'm Jenny Stavisky. I founded this 12 years ago, and Kerry now runs it because I work for an organisation called Vet Partners, which Kerry apparently now works for, which is great to have you on board. I just wanted to briefly talk about this amazing team of people and just map a little bit of the KE that we've done. So within the university, we've done open days, we've been to game shows, we've been to, we work with the student experience team. People come to us as applicants, discussing the fact that they've seen us and they want to come here because of us. We work with other student-led organisations such as the Rucksack Project, Tea and Company. We have veterinary nursing students from Nottingham Trent. So we have a diverse range of connections within the university. Outside the university, we work with, as Kerry said, a lot of partner organisations and homelessness charities. We also do regular outreach walks, so 6 in the morning or 10 o'clock at night with the big issues. The students are walking the streets, supervised, learning about the different map of the city that occurs at night. We've had visits from students and staff from other vet schools who've wanted to start their own initiative, and we have liaisons and links with other organisations such as Street Vet, and we've presented at workshops and talks at national conferences to explain what we do. We got some funding for a master's. We've had 3 papers published and an article in The Conversation. We've had really good engagement, and we use that to talk about some of the policy changes that may be coming in or have been lobbied for with government ministers. Also part of the Street Vet Forum, so we work with other charities that have similar aims as us. And we have external representation, so we visit schools, we do country fairs, we go to Rotary clubs and WIs, and basically anywhere anyone asks us to talk about what we do, because we think the more people that understand us, the more we can change. Was that 2 minutes?
Probably. Oh, and we'll be on this table here if you want to come and talk any more about it.
Oh yeah, and we would probably talk a lot about the challenges we've faced, the mistakes we've made,
yes,
the things that we've learnt, and some of the complexities that we've encountered. I think, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Hello, morning. My name is Steph Thorne, and I work at University of Arts London within the London College of Fashion as Associate Director for Knowledge Exchange Development. And over the last couple of years, I've been really deeply involved with student knowledge exchange and developing the infrastructure and environment, mapping the student knowledge exchange within and outside the curriculum, and really getting a deep understanding of kind of the motivations for students, particularly as change agents and the desire and ability for student knowledge exchange to help change the fashion industry for the better. So how well we develop and educate the knowledge exchange potential within our students and measure the impacts depends on all our abilities on academic and professional services staff, institutional approaches and cultures for learning and teaching, and the sort of development of academic and professional identity within knowledge exchange, those wider enabling environments. Sort of the importance of talking and thinking about teaching-led approaches to student knowledge exchange is a little bit underdeveloped, and a bit of an ongoing challenge remains about how do we learn from ourselves as knowledge exchange practitioners, and what lessons are we learning from teaching and learning knowledge exchange experiences. And there seems to be quite a disconnect, I think, across the sector between institutional knowledge exchange strategies, which are in part pointed to HEBC, and the realities of academic and professional services life within UK universities and the teaching and learning agenda. And so we've been thinking about a little bit about that within UAL, and trying to find some sort of space and time to reflect on knowledge exchange practice within and outside the curriculum, and to grow our collective learning and capability in student knowledge exchange. And I'm asked all the time, what is knowledge exchange? What is student knowledge exchange? What does this mean? And so we sort of flipped it and went on a bit of a research project internally ourselves and started asking academics, professional services staff and students, what did knowledge exchange mean to them? And so we've got far more than these few quotes here, but I think they're quite interesting to sort of start to unearth some things around power dynamics and around identity and what the purpose and the drivers are, with all the different actors and stakeholders coming together. Key thing missing is, what does knowledge exchange mean to our external partners? That's a question that needs to be asked and researched a bit more deeply as well, but this has been a kind of interesting project. So my table and discussion is kind of a little bit broad, thinking about who are the actors, what are the drivers internally and externally for the development of student knowledge exchange, to just try and sort of help support what student knowledge exchange means to different people and kind of develop our collective capabilities in this space. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much to all of our speakers. If you'd like to go and rejoin your tables, just to make it a little bit easier for people to find you, and then I'll point everyone in your direction. So having had that initial kind of taster and an introduction, I'm sure the hardest choice is where you begin in terms of kind of conversations to join and engage with. So Neil and the team from ARU are at this table towards the back. So really looking at those discussions around inclusion in student knowledge exchange, thinking about kind of sustainability of initiatives within the institution. The team from Queen Mary are here towards the front, thinking about that interdisciplinary student knowledge exchange and the kind of opportunities, learnings and challenges challenges there. So Simon from Lancaster, over there in the back corner, thinking really about entrepreneurial approaches and mindset in student knowledge exchange. The team from Vets in the Community, so from here in Nottingham, about their co-created kind of place-based approach, led by students and partners. And then Steph, I've lost you. Steph over there from London College of Fashion for a bit of a deep dive into that student knowledge exchange policy practice and a real understanding for our sector and indeed for our roles and practice moving forward. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes just to change places, a moment of musical chairs, and then we'll kind of start a discussion for around 20 minutes in the first of your groups. Thank you all very much.